to Ep.4 of Handled by Hotheads. I'm your host, Brittany, here with my co host, Sarah. What's up, Sarah?
Hey guys.
Oh my gosh, Tina Turner died.
Bro, yeah, that's heartbreaking. Talk about a true icon gone. Who are we even left with now?
Uh, is Anita Baker still alive?
Probably not.
Um,
Aretha's
yeah.
gone.
Patti LaBelle?
No, I don't think Patty's alive. Is she?
I don't know, man.
Diana Ross. Diana Ross is alive.
Wow, that's crazy.
That is pretty crazy actually.
Yeah.
No.
Miranda Lambert.
All right.
Yeah, I've been on a kick with Miranda Lambert this
Oh.
week. You
Yeah,
want to
I
know
went through my
why?
Miranda Lambert phase. I love her early stuff.
Yeah, I've been listening to like the same three songs, but the main one is that I'm going home, gonna load my shotgun.
Oh
You know,
god, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, that's a vibe.
That
Cause
puts me in the mood to do some sketchy shit.
yeah, we've all been there. But the reason I've been thinking about Miranda Lambert is because this bitch, Erin Caffey, that's who I'm gonna start with today, if you don't mind. She looks like a little like if Miranda Lambert had a daughter that was born addicted to crack. That's how Erin Caffey looks. So
How do you
yeah,
spell the
that
last name?
C
Oh,
A
I
F
got it.
F E Y. Yeah,
Oof. Yep. You hit the
yeah,
nail on the head with that one.
yeah. And she sang too in her church choir so
Mm.
much that she moved the church to tears,
I,
allegedly.
I bet she did.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's my first case. This episode is all about children who kill. And I don't know about yours, but both of mine are teenagers. They're not like young kids.
Both of mine are young teenagers.
Yeah, so I got a 15 and 16-year-old, but Erin Caffey was 16 when she did the unthinkable. So let me just walk through this whole setup. It gives trailer park, but okay,
Her whole
in
face gave Trailer Park.
yeah, it was she's a nightmare. So she's 16 at the time of the crime, right? Her parents are Terry and Penny Caffey, and then she has two little brothers, Matthew and Tyler. Okay, so her brothers were 13 and 8 at the time of the crime, and she
Okay.
was 16. So yeah, there's Terry, Penny, and then Erin's the oldest, so she has two little brothers, Matthew and Tyler, 8 and 13. So she was in ninth grade. Erin went into public school after being homeschooled. Her family was super religious, so I don't know. I just feel like
I'm sure
super
that was a culture shock.
I was gonna say super religious family that homeschools their children always gives me a red flag, just
Yeah.
a yeah. So yeah, she went into public school after being homeschooled. At age 16, she got her license and a job at Sonic, her first job. At her job, she really enjoyed it. She skated the food out to the customers, and one time she met this man named Charlie. I shouldn't say man, he was 18.
Yeah,
So
far from
Charles,
a man.
right. Charles Wilkinson was 18. He was like rough around the edges, came from a broken family, stayed house to house with friends, dropped out of high school.
Mm. All the red
Uh,
flags, but also so appealing to a 16-year-old.
yeah, and a 16-year-old who, I mean, in a super religious family, they were like very intertwined with their church community, and all of them played instruments. And I think the mom sang also, and then Aaron was part of the choir as well. So they were like big in their church.
Yeah, I
And
don't like it.
yeah, so like when you go from that small community of people and just being homeschooled and that's all you know to boom, I'm integrating into society, like there's a whole other world out here, and you
Yep.
meet and you meet this boy who's smiling at you with the sparkly eyes and shit, and he just has a whole different story from you. It's like magnetism. So Aaron's parents asked him over for dinner because she would talk about him nonstop. They wanted to get to know him because obviously that's her first like real boyfriend. She had a couple phases with boys before, but they didn't last. And They were probably with boys from the church also. But anyway, so it was like the first one that she was super infatuated with. So the parents asked him over for dinner, and immediately Terry, the father, did not like him. He came home from work, and Charlie was sitting in his sofa chair in the front
Jesus.
room. He extended his hand to shake Charlie's hand, and Terry said, "Hello, you must be Charlie." And Charlie just looked up at him and was like, "Yeah, and you are."
Damn.
Immediately, bitch, you disrespect my dad like that, you gotta go.
Yeah,
You gotta get
absolutely.
the fuck up out of here. So Penny told her man, like, don't be so judgmental and overprotective. Let's give him a chance. You know, he's young, blah, blah, blah. So they kept their opinion of him to themselves and kept having him over for dinner.
They're nicer people than I am.
Right, instantly. Get the fuck out. They made a rule that he had to leave by 9 p.m. and then she could text him because he was always there, but they preferred that rather than letting him take her wherever. So at least they could be there monitoring and shit like that. Charlie was attending church with the family regularly. Like he was always going to church with them. The couple were always touchy feely, and one day the parents were super upset when Aaron and Charlie were like hugged up in the church pew, and it was a little too PDA for that environment. So Charlie was allegedly spotted with his hand up Aaron's shirt also. So the church,
Okay.
yeah, the church folks started talking about them, and still Aaron and Charlie isolated themselves and had freaky makeout sessions randomly in the house of the Lord, just disrespecting our fucking father.
Okay,
Okay.
well, it's also not up to these other churchgoers to be judging them because I'm sure Brenda sitting in the front has probably had a couple affairs already. So, like, come on. Nobody remembers their, like, young love and all of that stupid shit.
You think I'm gonna be letting a motherfucker cup my titty in the house of the Lord? I'm there to worship Him, not
Brittany,
you.
you might be fooling the listeners, but you ain't fooling me.
I feel like there's a time and a place for shit,
There
and
absolutely is, but I'm just saying, these other people in the church, they don't got no skeletons in their closet. Bullshit. That's why I hate church so much. Too many judgmental, hypocritical people. I can't do it.
you're on your own with that, cause I don't play about my fucking church people, except for
That's
Latter Day
fine. I'm still
Saints.
saving you a seat down below.
I'm not going there. You'll be double booked for your seats, and you can put your legs up. I
Great.
won't be there. Anyway, so the parents just are rubbed wrong by the whole situation because it's getting a little too.
Grown.
Yeah. Okay. So Charlie started getting loose at the mouth, acting like he had no home training when he came over to their
I
house,
don't think
and
he
he
did.
yeah, and he was, but that's how he was presenting himself. Like the more he got comfortable, he was acting like he was the non-contributing king of the castle. So the parents started to feel that the two were too like aggressive and obsessive for each other, and Erin's attitude changed toward her parents. You know what the fuck that means.
Mm-hmm.
She got a sample of that D.
Oh, yes.
Charlie gifted Aaron a promise ring that was his grandmother's ring, and that's where Mr. Cathy was like, "Okay, bitch, no." He felt like Charlie was taking his baby girl from him rather than forming a relationship with the family and doing things the traditional way, the Christian way, the correct way.
Okay.
Sarah,
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way. Listen, just do it how it's supposed to be done. You can save yourself a world of chaos. So yeah, the final straw was when Erin's grades started slipping in school. The parents sat her down and said in so many words, "Bitch, you're in a dick fog. Get back to Jesus. We're not
Shut-
asking you. We're not asking you, we're telling you. You're breaking up with Charlie." When this conversation took place, she dropped her head and said, "I've been looking for a way to break up with him for a while now, thank you." And the parents felt relief that she was understanding. They felt like, oh, okay, because I thought, like you guys were just in this world of your own and we're seeing all these red flags and you're just oblivious. So, like they brought their concern to her and was like, no, you need to get your grades back up, no boyfriend. And she acted like he's just so aggressive and she's scared to break up with him. She doesn't know how to do it. So they were like, okay, we're all on the same page. Boom. So Aaron had these other friends who were Charles' Charlie, her boyfriend's friends, and so it was a couple, Charlie Wade, so Charlie and Charlie, and then Charlie Wade was 20, and he had his girlfriend Bobby Johnson, who was 18. Mind you, Charlie Wade is going through like a custody battle. He needs lawyer money to get his daughter, who is not Bobby's daughter.
Yeah.
So after the crime, her older group of friends said that Erin was going around talking about how she wanted to kill her parents and she was tired of them being tyrants over her life and shit like that. So she and Charlie went around telling everyone that Erin's parents beat her and were abusive toward her. They came up with a plan to kill Terry and
Mm-mm-mm.
Penny. So boom, February 28th, 2008. And this happened in a small town in Texas. Celeste, Texas. I'm not sure.
Is this gonna
Um,
explain why she looks like a meth head, though?
no, she just looks like that.
Damn, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So anyway, so February 28th, 2008, from around 11:45 p.m. to 12:45 a.m. in that hour, Erin called her boyfriend 6 times asking where he's at. Charlie, and Bobby drove up to the house to act on this plan. The
Ooh.
dog was but their dog was outside barking and scared them off. So
Okay.
Erin, yeah, so they pulled off. Erin begged them to come back and she said she'd put the dog up. So
Yeah, don't hurt the dog. The dog didn't do shit.
yeah, I don't think the dog got hurt. But they came back. Erin snuck out into the car with them. They drove to a nearby cemetery, and for an hour, they made a more realistic plan to kill her parents.
A more realistic. Okay.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
I
how
got
are we
it.
going to do this? Uh huh. While discussing these plans, Erin tells them to kill her little brothers too so they can't say who did it.
Damn.
Oh, bitch, you're just vile. That's
Oh
gross.
my
Come on now.
god. Like, damn.
Yep. So Erin gave the friend Charlie the code to her parents' safe saying that there was $2,000 in there. And this is Charlie Wade, the one who was 20. And
Mm-hmm.
so he was sold because he needed the lawyer retainer as he was in a custody battle with the baby mama to get his daughter.
Well, now he's gonna have to drop that case and focus on his murder case.
Yeah. These dumb fucks pull back up with a 22 caliber handgun and two samurai swords.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so they kick the door open to get in and they wake everybody up with that kick. Terry, the dad, was shot 11 times,
Holy
but he
shit. That's
he
overkill.
he lived.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
I know, I don't even he was like shot in the face and everything.
The power
So,
of the Lord.
yeah, so the gun jammed while they were trying to blow him through the wall. And so the friend, Charlie, the 20-year-old, stabbed the mom in the neck while she was laying there in bed with the samurai sword. The gash that the sword made nearly decapitated her.
I'm sure it did, yeah.
Yeah, so they're like sharp like machetes. Cause I'm
Oh,
thinking,
absolutely,
say,
yeah.
I've never really seen a real sword. I don't think like out of the case, but I would think they would be like
They're meant
flimsy,
to
like
just
the.
like glide right through.
Oh yeah, see that's crazy. They heard the little brothers yell from upstairs. They got the gun unjammed and went to the stairs. They saw the oldest of the two, who was 13 at the time. He started pleading with Charlie to stop, and Charlie shot him in the face, killing him instantly.
God.
So they ran up the stairs looking for the 8-year-old brother who was hiding in the closet in the fetal position. They took the swords and they stabbed him to death right there in the closet where he was. Like what?
This is so sick.
Yeah, this is gross. This like more than just criminal.
Absolutely. This is like
This
you're
is a
sick in the head. You're getting off on
yeah,
it.
this is a mission that they're going through. Like they didn't have to kill those kids. I don't know. They ransacked the house, took all their shit, got Erin's bag that she packed, which to me signifies that this was premeditated and she was aware of what was going to happen.
Absolutely.
They set blankets on fire throughout the house and scurried off to their new life of mentally ill fugitive freedom. Terry was still alive, though, so he was determined to get out of the house to stay alive long enough to tell the police who did it. He said he saw the wife and knew the boys were dead because he heard like the whole scenario going on, and he was shot multiple times in the face and shoulders, could barely breathe as the house was billowing with smoke, so he was like crawling to get out. Once he got out of the house, he swam through like a creek that was nearby he almost drowned in that creek, but he made it through and crawled 300 more yards to the neighbor's house and got up the stairs and banged on the door.
Damn.
The neighbor opened the door and he called 911, but he was just completely covered like head to toe in blood, and so he was like almost unrecognizable. The town was so small that everybody knew who all these kids were. Like police went to Charlie's house immediately, and that's where they were. Okay, they found a shirt with blood on it when they walked into the house, so they took him in to be interrogated.
so, so so they planned out the murder, and that's where their plan ended.
Then they went to his house. They thought it was over with. They're so
What they
stupid.
do? Sit down and pick out a movie? You thought it was that simple? You've never watched one movie in your entire lives, or even like read a newspaper? You thought that you were just gonna go do this and then go home and chill
Right.
after setting the house on
So
fire? If they wouldn't have set the house on fire, well, no, the dad still got out, but
Yeah.
bro, okay. So
imagine shooting somebody 11 times in the head and shoulders and they lived.
so
Like, God, you're
where does the dad stand with his daughter now?
oh, let me get to that. Okay, so they didn't. I don't know if Aaron was in another room or just under the blankets, but they only took Charlie in for whatever reason. I don't know where the other couple was, but Charlie was giving like very little information, but based off Terry's statement and the bloody shirt, they had enough to obtain a search warrant. So when they went back to search the house, it's like hoarders. There is pizza boxes and clothes and garbage everywhere. Like you can't even
Gross.
see the floor. Yeah, so they started lifting stuff up in this house, and one officer sees blonde hair that looked like a baby doll toy, so he reached down to grab it, and as he lifted it up, there were two eyes looking up at him, and it was Erin hiding in the debris. So Erin plays dumb, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, where am I? What happened? I was drugged and kidnapped," and like plays like the victim, you know?
Yeah. Um.
Yeah.
okay.
So they all believed her, and one interrogator asked if she smelled like smoke, and she didn't. So they gave her a urinalysis, and that's how they found out she was lying. She didn't have anything in her system, and she didn't smell like smoke. So she got arrested right there in front of her grandma. When they interrogated the other three, all three of them folded, Charlie, Charlie, and Bobby, and told them that Aaron was the mastermind in the situation. They didn't believe it at first, but once the phone records were obtained, they found that to be true. So, yeah, Aaron changed her story up to still be the victim. She ended up getting life plus 25 years. She's eligible for parole in 2038.
Shouldn't be.
Exactly. But Charles and Charles both
What
got
a
life with no
spoiled
parole.
little bitch.
Yeah, she's
Honestly.
disgusting.
Never got
Hmm.
disciplined her entire childhood.
Yeah. So Charles and Charles got life with no parole, and then Bobby, she just sat in the car the whole time, but she didn't like tell or be like, "Hey, this is not a good idea. Let's
Yeah,
not do
so
this."
she's
So she
also
got
stupid
yeah, so she got 20 years for
for being
whatever
dumb.
accessory. Yeah. So during the trial, though, another one of Aaron's like short-term exes, who I don't know if she like met him in school or church, but he testified against her, and this was before she met her man Charlie that actually like went through with the plan. But Aaron's ex testified against her and said that she was asking a long time ago for her man to kill her parents. So
Oh.
like before she met Charlie, this has been her plan.
Yep.
To get to your question, where does Terry stand today? So Terry had PTSD for so long, obviously. He slept with a gun on his chest, and he's kind of like healed enough to where he sleeps with it in the nightstand next to his bed and stuff, but he has flashbacks, and obviously that's
Yeah.
super traumatizing. But he is a religious man, and he says that even though it's hard to see his daughter in the state that she's in, he like lost it when he was in the hospital whenever the police broke it to him that this wasn't just him being a negative influence on your daughter. Your daughter's the one that set all
Right, she
this
was the
up. She
mastermind.
Yeah, so he like lost it and just started screaming and freaking out because Like, damn, I could see if you were mad at your parents, but the brothers had to suffer too. And I don't know. He still visits her. He says that sometimes it's hard because he just doesn't understand, but that's still his daughter and he doesn't want to give up on her for whatever
Ooh,
reason.
yeah, wouldn't be my kid no more.
Yeah, I don't know if he like wrote a book, but I know that he goes around giving like not speeches, but telling his story to churches and stuff like about the day he lost everything and how he got through that and shit. I don't know. Fuck Erin. I hope she does not get out. I hope they find some reason to find her not eligible for parole. I don't feel like she's the type of person that should integrate back into society. I feel like this. I feel like if you set up a murder and like have somebody else do your dirty work, you're worse than the murderer themselves. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like you're the one like because he wasn't gonna kill any. He probably wouldn't have killed anybody. You know what I mean? But like you put that little fucking coochie on him and shit, and then you know how men are. Like that's all you gotta give them some sugar, and then they turn sweet. So I don't know. I just feel like you're more manipulative, and that should be considered. And you shouldn't be around people because you can't be trusted.
Absolutely. I hate her.
Yeah. So do I. Death to you, bitch. Die.
Ha!
All right. So who you got?
Alright, so let's talk about Josh Phillips. Woo! This shit, I remember seeing this on some crime show years ago. Like, I'm talking a long time ago. And it always stuck with me for some reason. But this little dipshit, he's 14 years old, from Jacksonville, Florida, giving my state a bad name. God damn it. So on November 3rd, 1998, 14 years old, his 8-year-old neighbor comes over to play with him. She never goes back home. Um,
Oh my god.
yeah, so Josh had issues at home. He had a father who was really violent towards him and his mom. Teachers said that, he was an average student. And he was actually fun to have in class. So he obviously wasn't looked at as like a problem child or anything like that. On November 3rd, Maddie came over and asked Josh if he'd play baseball with her outside, which wasn't uncommon. They were really good friends. Neither of the parents really, it didn't bother them about the age difference or anything. It would bother me as a mom. I wouldn't let my young daughter go play with a boy that much older, but whatever.
Right.
He was home alone at the time, so he agreed. And while they were playing basketball or baseball, sorry, he said that he accidentally hit the ball at her eye and that it started bleeding and she was crying and screaming, and so he panicked. He was worried that his father was going to come home and be angry with her or angry with him for hitting her. So he drug her body into the house. Once he got her upstairs to his bedroom, he beat her with a baseball bat to get her to stop crying and then shoved her body under his bed. He had like a water bed and stuff, and you've probably seen what those frames look like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So his dad ended up coming home. He spent the evening with his family, did dinner, all that good stuff. He went back up to his room and realized that Maddie was still alive. So he found a small knife in his room and he cut her throat and stabbed her with the knife and left her under his bed again. Maddie's parents reported her missing that day, and Josh even joined them in the search. And later on, Josh had said that he had kind of just like ignored everything that he did, the situation going on. So yeah, he joined in on the search for her. And a few days later, on November 10th, Josh's mom noticed like a really bad smell coming from his room, and his room was kind of a mess. So she was in there trying to clean things up and saw a stain coming from under his bed, and that's when she found Maddie's body. She called the cops. The cops went to the school. Josh was arrested, and he confessed right away to murdering
Yes.
her.
In stories like this, it's easy to put yourself in the position of the victim's parents, like, oh my gosh, that's scary. I would never want that to be my child. But what would you do if you were the mom that found out your child
Oh
did
my
that?
god, are you kidding me? I I honestly don't know that I could look at my kid the same way ever again.
Really?
Yep. If I found somebody's rotting body in my child's room, I'm gonna have a hard
Yeah,
time
yeah.
looking my kid in the eye ever again.
Yeah, that's different from like the accident that happened outside. Like, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
absolutely. I mean, but see, this is the issue where we have talked before on like your reaction to your kids coming to you when they have a problem.
Yeah, yep,
You
that's very
determine
true.
how they then handle mistakes after that. Your reaction determines what they do. Like, not at all giving this kid a free pass and saying he's okay for this, but he already had an abusive father. This happens. He's terrified on what he's going to do, so his first instinct is, well, I got to hide what I did, not at all thinking of the consequences after. And this was like a simple accident that just led to something extremely horrible. I mean, it definitely went too far whenever he found the knife and slit her throat. But at that point, what was he supposed to do? Call down to his parents and be like, so, I mean, here's what happened. I thought I did kill her. She's still alive. What do I do?
Yeah, this is a child who's in fear multiple times throughout the scenario because you hit her eye and then you dragged her home, weird, and then you beat her with a bat, and then you went and like ate dinner and shit, and then when you came back you stabbed her. Like there's so much time and room for, okay, let me just do the right thing because this isn't going to get any better.
Right, exactly.
And instead you chose to depersonalize and like try to just conceal it and not tell anybody or ask for help. Like that, I don't know, to me that does seem like a telling sign of how you're being raised.
Well, he got life in prison, and that's where he's gonna sit forever. His lawyer never let him testify. There was studies done on him. He had images taken of his brain and stuff where he had quite a few lesions in his frontal lobe, and they did say that that could have something to do with like his decision making process and everything, but the judge would not allow that evidence into trial. The prosecutor tried to say it was sexually motivated because when he was dragging her up the stairs her bottoms had slid off, but there was not any DNA evidence to support that. There was nothing to say that she was touched sexually in any way at all. But they did also say that there was no blood found on her like eye or nothing. So they don't know if
Mm,
that story was even true, or if he had just lured her inside and beat her with a baseball bat.
that's probably what he did.
Yeah, because I mean, well, it would hurt like hell to get hit with a baseball in the eye. I mean, I'd be screaming and frantic and losing my mind. But if she was out there screaming and crying, don't you think somebody in the neighborhood would have heard? Don't you think her parents, who knew that she went down there to play with Josh, would have heard her screaming?
Right.
Also, like, I mean, why did it take so long for them to go looking for their daughter? Like, she was gone for hours.
Yeah, I don't know. I have my son check in. Sometimes he stays out a little longer than I asked him to. But
Absolutely. But I mean, she was also 8 years old and you sent her down to play with a 14-year-old.
yeah, we're not doing that.
No, absolutely
So
not.
the parents were aware, like for sure, that they knew that that's what their daughter was
Yeah,
doing. Yeah, that's fucking weird. 8 and
right.
14. That's a big age gap, especially when the older one is
It,
a boy. I mean,
a,
I guess the gender doesn't matter, but still.
yeah, it does though. A 14-year-old boy going through puberty and stuff, that matters. That's,
Yeah, but I feel like girls are vile and evil like that
yeah,
too,
but I'm
though.
saying like
I
boys get that curiosity and stuff in them, and I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you right now, as the mother of an 11-year-old handsome
Oh my
child who
god.
has girls a year or two older than him also all on his Snapchat, bitches have the same curiosities.
I understand. You okay? Let's move on from this.
These motherfucking kids are
I
predators,
swear,
and you parents need to pay attention to your goddamn
some of these
children.
kids are worse than adults, man.
Seriously, it's out of
I
control.
I agree. That's the problem. I mean, this
Also,
is back in the 90s though. Like we didn't have phones and tablets and stuff to park our kids in front of, but I mean they still had Nintendo, Sega, all that shit, video games and stuff. But back then you couldn't blame video games for violence because
I was just gonna say, like, let me just say this: human nature is human
absolutely.
nature. Curiosity is curiosity. It depends on the child. I don't really think that the gender matters, but a rule of thumb is that in early and middle childhood, 3 years is a pretty steep age gap because these kids are developing and maturing at like such intense levels each year. 3 years is like two whole different people. You know what I mean? And now that we have like
Well, and this was 6 years.
so yeah, exactly. That's insane. Like that's not even
No, this is a
normal
kid
to
who
allow your
is
kid.
like going into high school. He shouldn't even have any desire to hang out with a third grader.
Yeah, that's a mental illness for
Yeah.
sure. Also, you can't really blame social media and like video games and shit because I feel like generations back all have stories about shit like
Yes.
this too. You know what I'm saying? Like
The
that's
only difference that
we're
I'll say is that I feel like parents today are a lot lazier, so they don't talk to their kids as much.
maybe.
All I know is if like a 6 or 7 year old, because that'd be about the age difference with my son, if a 6 or 7 year old little girl knocked on my door, hi, can so and so come out and play? No, you need to go home. Like, what? Do your
Right.
parents know that you're over here? No, he's not.
See, my son, we live in an apartment complex where we're under surveillance, and so all the kids like there's like a group of three little kids. I think they're in first grade, and they always want him to come outside because they like to they like to tease him, or
Well, and that's fine, and that's a group.
yeah, it's not individually.
Yeah.
If one little girl was coming, my son, I know I've had talks with my son because of my own trauma from my childhood and stuff. But if my son came home and was like, this younger girl likes me, I it would shock me because he likes older girls. Like we've had these conversations
Yeah.
before. That's the whole thing. When you say people aren't talking to their kids as much, I don't know. I feel like maybe because people stopped sitting at the dinner table, like families aren't as connected. But I feel like back in the day, it was more common for it to be like the social norm for kids to stay in a kid's place, and they weren't talking to their children back then either. To me,
Yeah, that's probably true
so
too.
I don't think anything's changed. But also, you have to know because we have the internet at the palm of our hands in all of our phones and watches and shit, your kids are being exposed to a lot of shit. And if you're not doing like the parental control thing, you need to be talking to them. And it's your
Well,
obligation to
yeah, but
like,
you can do as much parental control as you want, but the second they're out with their friends, they're seeing whatever
yeah,
on their
yep,
friends' devices and stuff. And at their friends' houses,
yeah,
those parents might be a lot more relaxed and not care. So we just
yep.
we're in an age where we can't even monitor our kids enough, no matter how much we stay on them, because the second they're out of our sight, they're going to learn about that stuff anyways.
Exactly. And I think that as a parent, you have an obligation to like talk to your kids about what would you do in this situation and stuff.
Right.
You know, like
And you still have to let your kids
some
know,
some
like,
people,
no matter what you do, you can come to me. That's literally what I'm here for.
yeah, you're still loved even when I'm disappointed or upset with
Right.
you. A lot of these kids go home and their parents make them feel disgusting or like they're bad people and shit, you
Yeah.
know? So I don't know. I just feel like your kids are going to be exposed to a lot of shit, and it's your job to make sense of it, like guide them through cause and effect, conflict resolution. Like parenting is a bigger job than a lot of people
It
talk about.
is. And I mean, you have to also kind of switch roles with your kid. Think about when you were a kid. Think about like the things you wish your parents had done differently and do them differently this time around. Like that's up
Yeah.
to you to break that cycle. You are the only one that can determine the type of relationship you have with your kid.
So, what state did he get life in?
Florida,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You said
unfortunate.
that. Yeah, Florida don't fuck around. They fry shit.
Yeah, I like it. I fry every time I'm there.
All right.
Um,
Okay, so we have Mr. Zachary Everett
hmm.
Davis. He was 15 at the age of the crime that occurred August 10th, 2012. The victim was his mother, Melanie. He had a brother named Josh, who was 17 at the time. Josh was like popular, outgoing, super social, football player, had a lot of friends, all that. Zach's dad passed away 6 years prior when he was 9 years old. After his dad died, he started hearing his dad talking to him, like he was having auditory delusions or hallucinations. Zachary was super quiet and kept to himself. If you've ever seen the movie Sling
Love it.
Blade, this kid talks in that, you know what I mean, like deep, slow
Really?
voice, like, yeah, like it's crazy. He has like the same mannerisms, like he keeps his head down and he doesn't really want to talk. He's super quiet and introvert. At age 11, Zach started going to therapy and was diagnosed with a psychosis and major depressive disorder. But after 4 visits, his mom stopped taking him to
Oh, okay.
therapy. Yeah, okay. Shortly after that, he was telling her that he heard voices and that he heard his deceased father talking to him. That went on until, she died because on August 10th, 2012, Melanie took the boys to the movie. They watched the campaign. It was a comedy. They laughed, had a good time. Then when they went home, Josh went into his mom's room later. She was working out, like doing push-ups and sit-ups and stuff. So he was working out with her, and he said goodnight to her. And then she went to bed. Josh went in his room, went to bed. Zach went in his room after the movie and packed a backpack to get up out of there. So he had plans for something. He went to get a sledgehammer from the garage. So I think he's called the sledgehammer killer or something, even though he's not a fucking
Yeah, why
serial
do we have
killer.
to
So
give
it's weird that he
names to
has.
people who have killed like one person?
It's stupid. He came back into the house with the sledgehammer and stood there staring at his mom for a second, and then he bludgeoned her to
Now,
death.
was his dad telling him to do this?
He'd been saying this,
Why did the
yes.
dad hate
So
the mom?
I have that in my notes somewhere, I believe, but I think that he said that she was deceitful. She was like a
Oh.
whore because I guess she was. I don't know if she was like actively dating, but like not in a relationship, like a real one. I don't know. But she wasn't taking care of Zach also, so there's a little bit of a twist coming up here. But yeah, she woke up in the middle of it, being bludgeoned to death, and started having seizures. She didn't say anything. She just started seizing, but he kept going. He recalled blood splattering everywhere and like the chunks of
Oof.
brain matter on his arms. And like as he was recalling this, he kind of let out nervous laughter during the process of recalling
Like
how
John
it
Bonet's
went.
brother?
Yeah, kind of similar, but they're very different, like affects. Like John Bonet's brother, allegedly he has like he's on the spectrum, but with Zach, I believe got diagnosed with
Mm,
schizophrenia. So he has like a depressed demeanor.
yeah.
Um, so it's like an embarrassed laugh for him, whereas John Bonet's brother was like like nervous type
Yeah.
shit. Here's what I don't understand about people that watch interviews and then it go like the headline will be like shocking interview with a psychopath, blah blah blah. Like, bro, you think it's like psychosis because they're telling a story and they're being held accountable and they're having to tell the truth on something that they did. And so a lot of people use like dismissive language to separate themselves from the crime that they committed because of the humiliation and shame that it brings. Like that doesn't mean that they like are enjoying it. Like people always think that murderers are killer clowns from outer space and that shit irritates me because this boy went through
Mm-hmm.
trauma and he clearly had a mental illness and his mom only took him to 4 therapy sessions. She wasn't getting him the help that he
Right.
needed. This was actually like one of the main motives for killing her. He was pissed off at her. So he might have been 15 at the age of the crime, but maturity level probably a
Exactly.
toddler. So he went and he got liquor to use as lighter fluid and attempted to burn the house down by setting fire to the game room in his mom's room. He fled the scene. So Josh woke up to see the fire, ran into his mom's room. He saw her in that condition, and he called 911 for help. Got out of the house. Less than 6 hours later, Zach was found walking down the street with his backpack. When they approached him, he admitted to everything up front, and when asked why, Zach had a list of reasons he committed these acts. He was angry towards his mother for not taking care of him, hearing his father tell him to kill her because she wasn't loyal and wasn't taking care of him, and then accusing his brother of raping him. This is where I start to get a little pissed off and defensive over Mr. Zach because he said that he was wrestling Josh like they always did, and Josh then forced himself upon him one time when his mom wasn't there and did the unthinkable. And when he went to tell his mom, she got mad at Zach because she didn't want to deal with it and thought he was lying because he was hearing voices
Yeah.
already. You know what I mean? So his plan was to kill both of them. But when he got interrogated, he stated that he wished he would have killed the brother first. During interrogation, I thought this was weird personally. He was recalling his last moments with his mom. He was completely emotionless. Like, you would think if you were completely innocent and not a shitty person, your mom just got bludgeoned to death and you saw her and had to escape a burning house, that when you were being interrogated 12 hours later, you would be in shock or some sort of distress. He was like super calm, having a casual conversation, like he didn't give a fuck at
Hmm.
all. Yeah, so he was also asked to recall events from their childhood that would describe why Zach would hold resentment toward him. And he talked about one time there was a boy who was hitting Zach with this like rolled up piece of paper. Zach was like moving away, but he didn't really respond, and he was really passive and quiet. So Josh walked up and told the kid stop hitting his brother, and the boy stopped, and that was that. But he feels like Zach always held a grudge against him for stepping in to be the hero, and that is the thought process of some like evil people. Like, I don't need you to save me.
Right.
He doesn't give me that. He doesn't give me that at
Well,
all. I
you
don't
also don't
know.
know him.
Yeah, but I watched his whole interrogation, his brothers, and just all of Zach has changed things about the story. Like, he wanted to get his brother in trouble. And so since he was lying and he has these episodes of hearing voices and shit and he doesn't sleep and he is in a psychosis, he has like episodes of that. Like, yeah, you can't really trust what he's saying, but also his brother's behavior is
But
super
yeah, I mean,
weird
it
too.
sounds like a kid with a lot of problems at home, and I mean, he doesn't get a free pass for what he did, but it probably wouldn't have happened if his mom would have listened to his cries for help. I mean, there's not a
Yes,
lot of
exactly.
kids that will come to their parents and ask for therapy. If your kid's asking for therapy, just do it. Whatever their reason is, they have a reason for it. Just get them help.
Especially when they're describing shit like hearing their dead father talk to them. Like, that might be normal in like the first months of grief, but six
Right.
years later, and he still talks to his dad every day.
Right.
Come on. At that point, you're just negligent as a mom.
Absolutely.
What?
Yeah. An unfortunate
So,
situation that probably didn't have to happen. And he
yeah, so
doesn't
he
seem like a
went
cold-blooded
to
killer.
no, I don't think I got cold blooded from his interviews. I don't know. I'm just going off my own intuition with that. But so he went to a competency trial to see if he could even stand trial by himself and stuff. And he shocked the whole courtroom because he changed his story to telling everyone he was taking the fall for his brother, and he didn't do anything. His brother did. Sumner County grand jury kind of, and this is in Tennessee, they kind of like were tired of him having mental illness episodes clearly on the stand, and so they decided, you know what, he is fit to stand trial. Okay, Tennessee is so
Yeah,
fucking
what?
stupid.
That doesn't even.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, because he was changing his story, and then he was like hearing voices this whole time. And in trials, he's like, "Is your dad like talking to you now?" And it never stops. So he was like, "Yeah, I hear him now." They indicted him on charges of first degree premeditated murder, attempted first degree premeditated murder, aggravated arson. He was deemed competent to stand trial. He was sentenced to life, and in Tennessee, that means you have to at least do 50
Wow.
years minimum before you can be eligible for parole. And then he got another 21 added on, I believe, for the arson.
God.
Yeah, that's where he is now. I mean, he went to the Dr. Phil show, and Dr. Phil, I feel like, saw and understood that this child needed help. Like,
Yeah.
in jail or out of jail, if you ever come home, like, it's not about whether or not we should integrate you back into society. Like, you need help because you're like struggling. Like, he's in there isolated. He's in
Yeah,
segregation.
that's not gonna do anything except for have a worse impact on him.
Yeah, he like begs the guards to turn the lights off, and I think he was like asking for some sort of white noise or something like that because he couldn't sleep. He was just nonstop hearing voices.
Wow.
So I don't know. I feel bad for that
Yeah, I
one,
mean, it just
but
sounds like a kid that just was kind of left behind, you know?
yeah, slipped through the cracks because of a negligent
Yeah,
parent.
and God, man, hearing about like his stuff just it sounds too much like what we're going through, and mm-mm.
Yeah.
Negligent parents, man, I can't stand them.
Yeah, there's so much like Josh did the interrogation with the police, but he didn't want to deal with it again on the Dr. Phil show. He turned it down or something. He's weird. He just gives me weird acting vibes. And Josh, bitch, I know you did that shit to your brother intuitively, allegedly.
Yeah, something weird.
You
So where's
freaky
the
Laker
brother at
man.
now?
He's just in the
Or
world living
yeah,
his life. He won't answer any more questions. He won't be involved with anything else. He just feels like his brother got life and his parents are dead, so let him live. But I don't know. I feel like,
I don't like it.
yeah, nobody's gonna make up a story like
Right.
that. You know what I mean? A kid who would lie about some freaky shit is different than a kid who is recalling details of the event. When you're lying, you're not gonna like tell the whole story with those details and not change that part of the story. Like, to me, I don't feel like he's being deceitful when he tells that story, and that's just my personal opinion. But I feel like Josh is a
Well, I got issues
rapist.
with people named Josh, anyways, so I've known too many
Yeah,
bad ones. All right, do we have time for me to cover this last one?
yeah,
All right, so Eric Smith. Yeah, dude, this kid is a classic case of a kid that needed to get his ass beat. So,
yeah.
13-year-old kid, all right, he comes from an abusive environment. He's heavily bullied by his classmates. He's bullied because of his ears, his glasses, from being short, his red hair. Ugh. So, yeah, just a kid with anger issues, all of that. He's sick of being bullied, sick of just everything in his life. 4-year-old Derek Robbie, this is the victim. 4 years old.
Mm.
Now, I didn't write down what state this was in, but this 4-year-old boy, Brittany, was walking from his home to a nearby park for a recreation program. 4 years old. Jesus Christ, my stepson's gonna be 8 and can't even walk up the sidewalk by himself. This kid's 4 years old and fucking. I, I don't understand. Why is this 4-year-old walking to the park by himself? But, anyways, so Eric found him along the way and ended up luring him into a secluded area before beating little Derek, strangling him, and then sexually abusing him. Now, I mean, this case is very cut and dry. Like, this is the only information on it. Due to the town's close proximity to a major highway, there was speculation that the little boy was just killed by someone passing through. I mean, why would you not assume that? You don't typically assume there's a 13-year-old psychopath running around. A week after Derek's body was found in that wooded area, Eric admitted his involvement to family members. He did it in like a really weird way. Like, I'm pretty sure they were watching TV or something and the news thing came on and he just kind of blurted out that he did it. You know, when asked why he did it, he said he was angry from all the abuse at home, in school, and just decided to take it out on Derek.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Brittany,
Ew.
he's out of prison, living his life,
What?
walking free. He got like 7 years.
I mean,
I don't
juvenile
care.
life is
I don't give a
only.
shit. He lured a 4-year-old. into a wooded area, beat him, strangled him, and sexually abused him. This guy has intense anger issues. He's a ginger. That's already a problem for me. He should have got life. A 4-year-old, an innocent little 4 year
Yes.
old? Fucking kidding me? Ooh, if I was that little boy's parents, I would have been waiting when that fucker got out of prison. He wouldn't have lived a day after.
Yeah.
Outrageous. I don't. You can't tell me that he's just good and isn't gonna ever kill again. I don't believe that for a second. Nope. He just
Hmm.
looks evil. The fucking redhead. I'm disgusted by that though. Like that's all that little boy's life was worth.
I'm just gonna say this. At a disproportionate amount, black youth are sentenced to juvenile life without parole, and then when they hit that age, they get transferred to like an adult DOC, and they don't get out over an instance of
Yeah,
gun violence when they're teenagers and they do shit like that.
redheads should be
This
held to the same
man
regard.
this man tortured, lured, planned, projected,
Yeah.
raped. Why is he alive?
Why
Why
didn't
is
he
he
get
out
beat to
here?
death in
Like what?
juvie? Wherever the hell he was.
Well, they made a lot of like in prison laws and stuff. Like when people say shit like Big Bubba's gonna get him in there,
I don't
that's
care.
not
One of
even
the
a
guards
thing
could have
really
did it.
anymore. Yeah.
This guy's his life is
Um,
worth absolutely nothing to me. What he did was an
yeah, I
extremely
don't.
heinous crime.
I feel like this. We are, or like the philosophy that has created the system that we use is utilitarianism. And what that means is that your intentions don't matter, only your outcomes do. You know, that's why if you were drunk driving, you accidentally hit somebody and they died as a result of that,
Right,
he's
you
still
still need to
going
be
to
held
jail.
accountable, and I
You know
don't
what I
feel
mean?
like
Like, you,
7 years was being held accountable.
there's no way he has been rehabilitated. Even if you, let me just say this too. Motherfucker, if you're getting abused at home and you got all this pent up rage and shit and you want to take it out on your abusers. There's no reason to do shit like this or to go shoot up a school or a church or a mall or a theater. What the
Well,
fuck is wrong with
he
people?
was small for his age, so he had to find someone smaller than him that he could take it out on because he knew he couldn't do anything to the people that were bullying him. That's a fucking cop out.
But no, most kids. First of all, if you're not gonna tell us somebody at school or the cops or some shit, most kids get anger and they hold that because they know that they're gonna be big one day, and then they'll whoop their dad's ass
Right.
or their stepdad or whoever it is that's abusing. You know what I mean? Like that's not a normal thought process. There's no way that he's normal enough to be able to be in society, and that's what I was talking about with utilitarianism. If all of us say no, let's go evaluate that because he didn't really do the time for the crime he committed. Who the like? What was he found guilty of, and who sentenced him? Why was his sentence so light? I don't know. I don't feel like the 4 year old's parents got justice, and that
I
is just
know.
disgusting to hear. So, episode 5, that's a case I'm probably going to present. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what I'm going to
I
do
really
yet.
don't either.
So,
But I did hear that there is a website you can go to. We'd have to look it up state by state. I know Iowa for sure has it. It's not a cold case site, but it's a site listing all of their unsolved cases, open unsolved cases. So I thought about maybe diving in that and see what we can find next door in Iowa. Um, who knows? Maybe we could come across a
yeah.
case that with fresh eyes would be easy to solve. So
We have like a map that shows the states of where our listeners are from, and there's like 4 different states that we decided when a new state gets put on the map of our listeners, we're gonna do a like notorious case from your state. We'll probably integrate and maybe do stuff like that together, kind of like how we do these when we do 4 cases in
yeah,
one
absolutely. And
podcast.
I mean, anybody's free to reach out and throw a case at us if there's something you want us to cover or something that
Yeah,
means something to you that you want to get back out there so people hear about. Multiple ways to get a hold of us.
yeah, and if you, I was gonna say, if you don't know where to communicate with us, then we are on Facebook and TikTok at Handled by Hotheads, and also Twitter, HBHH. podcast because somebody already took Handled by Hotheads. Okay. Yeah, but we want to start interacting with our listeners and grow from there and have you guys participate in being suggesters of
Yes,
who we cover and
absolutely.
stuff.
I think that would be great. I think it would help us out a lot.
Reach out, bitch.
All right.
Love
Until
you.
next
Thanks for
time.
listening.
Sometimes in life things can come across as rather odd or often peculiar, a little like the way that you decide to tune into other radio stations other than ours.